My name is Zachariah, and I always tell people if they're lazy with their syllables, Zach is fine, So, I currently own a marketing company. We started it in Arizona, but we do special events all over the country, which has been shut down because of, everything that's going on. And currently work with Moonbase Media and Gestalt Theory, and we're producing content that's positive and productive, and we want to stay on track for that specifically, for sure. So that's pretty much what we're doing right now.
Absolutely. And can you introduce yourself and what you do?
My name is Jimmy Scroggins. Born and raised here in Arizona. Love Arizona. Don't ever want to live anywhere else. People think I'm crazy. I'm one of those weirdos that go run when it's 115 degrees outside.
I feel you.
I just love it, right? Love-hate relationship for sure. But I am a all-around entrepreneur. I guess I should probably consider myself a 9-to-5 entrepreneur, if that is even a thing. I guess it is now. I'm gonna coin that. Don't nobody steal that. Right? So I'm a member of the Arizona Army National Guard, or I was a member of the Arizona Army National Guard for 7 years. Just recently switched over to the Air National Guard. That's been fun. But on my actual passion side of life, I am a full-time motivational speaker. I travel the country and just work with young people, trying to just help them be the very best version of themselves. It has now rolled over into me trying to help adults be the very best version of themselves as well.
That sounds hard.
I won't say that I have the same passion toward adults, because I just don't. I would be lying if I said that. I just believe that children are actually the future, as cliche as that sounds. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I do that. I'm also the president of my own nonprofit organization, For Life Foundation, where we just seek to help communities come together through positive engagement and peer interaction, community involvement, different deals like that. So yeah.
Can you say the name of your nonprofit again?
It is For Life Foundation. So the number 4 and the Life Foundation.
All right. So today I kind of wanted to get together to discuss the media and how it affects our children, and if it affected you at all in your current situation in your life, or in your past, and how basically we experienced it growing up. So did the media affect you, or did it play any role in your life at all? You seem like a very stand-up person.
I mean, I'm sure I come off as this stand-up individual, but it's only because of all of the experiences that I've had to deal with in my life, right? So some of those experiences were sitting at home and watching violence in the streets, or maybe watching violence on TV, or maybe hearing about violence on TV or on the news or what have you, right? I grew up in a neighborhood where it was deemed a terrible neighborhood, right? And so media also helped push that narrative, right? So how was I supposed to feel living in that neighborhood, right?
Absolutely.
That I lived in a terrible neighborhood, so that obviously must have meant that I was a terrible person, and that I was destined to be whatever it was that was ultimately coming outside of that neighborhood, right? So me being that young kid, I didn't want to fall victim to that narrative, right? I didn't want to be what the media had proclaimed me to be, right? And so it's never just one thing, right? It's not just rap music or secular music or the news or the new latest video or what have you, right? It's a plethora of different things that come together and just kind of starts to convince us that, man, maybe I should sell drugs, maybe I should be a rapper, and that's the only thing that's out there for me, right? Or maybe I should only just be a basketball player, because all the guys that are coming from my neighborhood, that's what it shows, right? Because all I see is these guys, they're famous, they're doing these things, and they all come from troubled backgrounds in the hood, in the ghettos, and oh, well, that's what's for us, right?
That's it.
Oftentimes I hate that, media doesn't put a lot of emphasis on the other side of that coin, right? There are other individuals that, they make more money than the rappers. They make more money. They make just as much money as a lot of people that are in the NBA or in the NFL, and they're doctors or lawyers or whatever it is. Maybe they just started their own tire shop and it's on the corner, right? That's one business that everybody kind of laughs at. But I'm like, yo, so when your tire goes flat, you're gonna make sure you find this guy right here. So he's extremely important. probably just as, if not more important than the athlete, right? Like that just makes sense, you know. So media for me hasn't really been like a thing that has actually like taken my life by swarm, and I just had to fall off the deep end before I figured it out. I've kind of always just looked at it and just kind of, you know, they say take it like with a grain of salt or what have you, right? And that's really what it's always been for me.
Because you saw the people that were actually doing the stuff that they're talking about.
Exactly. So I didn't need media to glorify anything because it was glorified in front of my face.
Exactly.
Like, this is not.
But
a
you also saw the outcome.
Exactly. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Drugs aren't good. They're not good for you, right? Like alcohol, no. You should probably put that down, right? So. I didn't need the media to then glorify it, and I'm like, yo, that looks cool, because it definitely didn't look cool. I'm like, yo, why are they doing that? Like, I know there's a crackhead down the street, and like he was doing that same thing, and that's not okay.
Yeah,
so,
the cops are at
yes, exactly, yeah, definitely.
How about you, Zach? Did that? Do you have the same kind of story, or?
Well, yeah, I grew up in a pretty crazy neighborhood, so I grew up in Sunny Slope, so it's either like you doing drugs or you're playing basketball. Actually, that was it. Like, that's all we had. And I feel like through the media, I grew up in a neighborhood where it's predominantly like Mexicans, black folks, Asians, little white people here and there. And so based on like the things that I was listening to, based on the music around me and what I'm watching in movies and what I'm seeing my friends doing, I think that all these things are cool. And it kind of, in a sense, like pushed me to be around these type of things because it's normalized, you know? And so definitely, I think the media does have a huge influence on what we do. We were talking about this earlier. They say sex sells. It's not true. What sells is what's shoved in front of your face over and over and over again. So as I got older and started to dislike the things that I was a part of, and kind of remember the things my grandma was teaching me growing up, and say, well, things aren't going amazing for me right now. Like, let me try to remember these things that I was taught. Like, and she instilled good values in me, like strong. My grandmother, like 50s, 60s values, Christian lady, like hardcore Christian, Bible thumper, like literally will hit you with a Bible if you do some stupid stuff. So I took a step back and I'm like, why? Why is all of these things being shoved in front of our face and glorified as like amazing things? And at the end of the day, it's to keep you down. And this might sound cliche, but it's to keep you vibrating at a lower level. You're operating based on your emotions and not how to use your brain. So I for sure have been affected, and I have seen it affect people around me, whether they've gone to prison because of the things that they were doing or just been put in terrible situations. And I believe it's due to like being not forced, but listening to and seeing these things over and over, and it becomes normalized, you know? So definitely, for sure.
Do you think any of the stuff going on in the media right now can cause people to feel even more oppressed than they are?
Say it again. Say it again.
So, do you think that anything going on in the media right now, all of this stuff, like just kind of being shoved in our faces, could make us feel even more oppressed than we are? So, make us feel like we definitely are owed something, and that somebody is holding us down, when really, if we had more tools to be able to be a better person, that would kind of help as well.
I think if they use media, I think if literally media was used as a tool to motivate people, I think that people would be more motivated. If we're still on the like concept of like media and how it influences us, 100%. It goes back to the sex sells. If they showed us entrepreneurs nonstop, or business owners, or tire shop owners, or whatever the case may be, if they show us that over and over and over and over, and they say that this is what's cool, people would strive to do that.
Absolutely.
100%. To go back to the oppression question, right? I don't necessarily feel like there is a sense of over oppression as much as it is a sense of reality oppression.
Just
right? And so people are looking, and they are being forced now to relive all of these moments that they have had to personally deal with, maybe, or if they didn't personally deal with it, they know a friend that had to personally deal with it, or maybe they're just one of those individuals that, right, we have people, for instance, right, you watch a movie and you just can't take it, right, you're bawling and you're just like, oh my gosh, like, I feel like that just happened to me, and the movie goes off and you're just like, I don't want to talk to anybody, I don't know what's going on, right? So you have now a plethora of those individuals in the world, right, who can actually empathize with someone else's struggle,
going through PTSD.
Right? Exactly. And so, so now you have this community of people, right? And it doesn't matter, white, black, doesn't matter, right? You have a community of people who now feel that reality oppression, right? So, and it stems from two ends, right? You have African Americans who they feel personally oppressed, right? And then now you have the other side of the spectrum, or which that even branches off to two sides of, you guys are full of crap, you're making this up, there's no way this is real, you haven't been oppressed this much, get over it, you'll be fine. But then on that same side, you have the individuals who they haven't personally dealt with it, and they don't personally deal with the, I guess, after effects of all of that years and years of hardship, but they can empathize, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is great. This is actually happening, this is crazy, right? Kudos to the media for bringing this to the forefront, right? So there's all of these different layers, right, to it, but I truly believe that it's this, like, and I literally probably just made that up, like this reality oppression, like it's something that is just very real, and it's in front of us, and we're being forced to now watch it.
Yeah,
like, there's
it's not a movie, guys. It's a movie that is not going to end until something's done.
Of course, and I also,
good.
Sitting here and being an African American, trust me, I have shied away from a lot of conversations just because I am for the youth 100%. I'm not just for the black youth, I'm not just for the white youth, I'm not for the Hispanic youth or the Asian youth or whatever. I'm just for the youth because I truly believe that nothing's about to change, really. Right, really. Let's just be right. Nothing's about to really change. You can change a couple laws here and there, and the Congress can do whatever, and the legislature. Like, okay, cool. That's neither here nor there for me because I'm not there making those decisions. No. And I really understand that, like, these 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, like, they're going to be the ones that are actually going to see the changes if the changes happen, right? Like, we could do whatever we want, we can yell from the rooftops, and that is absolutely amazing that people are coming together and they're doing these different things. It is like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. However, the real changes aren't going to be seen by us. And it's unfortunate that it's that way, but again, it's that reality oppression. It is very real.
When you say like kids are the future, it's not cliche at all. It's like true, 100%.
I mean,
I went out to the protests, and it's more young people,
unbelievable.
and it's they show all this like violence and this and that. Man, when we were out there, everything was super peaceful.
Everybody's
like
offering waters.
And it's way more young people than old people. Like you don't see. I'm 31, so I think I might have been one of the oldest people out there.
Right, like,
right?
Oh God.
Right, a little bit, but I think that the aspect that they can actually like see everything that's going on is helping, because it is bringing like the younger generations who are like, this is crazy, together, and like we don't want to. We need to go out here and like march and talk and
show people what is going to happen.
And it's really unfortunate though, from the media standpoint, when you look at the sense of oppression, right, for a 10-year-old kid. Like, yo, so have you really been oppressed? Like, right, like, and a lot of people would get upset with me for even just making that statement right now. But like, it's reality oppression. It is what it is, right? Like, what's real today, right? I wasn't alive 60 years ago. I'm 31. I don't know what they went through. However, I can empathize with it because my grandma has told me. So in a lot of ways, I feel like I was in the cotton fields picking cotton for $3 a day, carrying a 75-pound bag of cotton up a ladder, and like just worms crawling over you, can't shower. You know, I can empathize with that, and I can understand. However, if reparations are to be paid to anybody, it's not to 31-year-old me. Right. It's to 67-year-old her or 75-year-old whoever. You know, it's not to me.
That one that's not ever going to get Social Security.
Exactly, right? It's definitely not for a young 31-year-old that can, in a world today, that can decide to overcome some of these obstacles. And I get that it is hard and it sucks. I totally understand. right? But again, I run a company called Just Keep Pushing. So I don't care about your hardships and I don't care about your problems. I just need you to figure out a way to be successful for you, not to be successful based off of the terms that the world deems to be your success, right?
That's
right.
And
that's
so
like my biggest thing.
It's
like,
so crazy.
That's that's where I'm trying to go with that question is for some of these adults that feel like they've been oppressed and that the man is holding them down. I feel like it was kind of our choice, and I probably will get in a lot of like trouble for saying something like that, but I feel like we did have a choice, you know. Like my mom was a drug addict, my dad was also a drug addict, and we lived in 14 different homes before I was 14. Like we got kicked out. I would show up from school and all of our stuff is on the porch, and I decided that I was not ever going to be like them, and I just loved school and I did my thing. But so I think that if we, like you said, if we had positive stuff in the media and for our children, we would be able to see that, oh wow, we have a different choice. I don't know how I made that choice or why I decided to go the way I did. I'm sure you didn't. A lot of people looked at me like the weird kid because I hung out with everybody, and I dug school. I was cool with it. But I feel like there's more that we can do for these kids, and I think like you're doing a great thing, but how can everybody else kind of make a difference in their children's life or in another child's life? Education, right? And it's education is used as such a loosely term. But how do you get your kid that isn't into education? Like how do you? So that's what I mean, right? So when you throw the term education out, everyone immediately goes to like, oh, school, and hit the books, right? And I'm like so far away from that sense of education. It's more of me sitting down with my son and saying, hey son, these are my views, okay? And you don't have to adopt these views. That's okay, son. It is more than okay for you to be a free-thinking individual. I'm going to tell you about life. I'm going to tell you about the experiences and the things that I've been able to do. I'm going to tell you about the things I've fallen victim to. I'm going to tell you about my negative interactions with white individuals. I'm going to tell you about my negative interactions with Hispanics or whatever it may be. I'm going to also tell you about my negative interactions with other African Americans, right? And then I'm going to allow you to go out into the world and believe whatever it is that you want to believe, right? And that's what I mean by education, right? Do I believe that Black people have had a choice always to just go out and say, I'm going to be great and have the opportunity? Absolutely not. I would be an idiot to just say something like that. However, there are a lot of things that we can control that we should try a little harder to control. And I say that as a people, and I don't feel bad about saying that. It doesn't make me any difference, right? Those are my thoughts. Again, that's okay, right? Like I'm not bashing anybody for believing whatever it is they want to believe, right? And again, so going like that sense of oppression, again, I say like, if there's reparations to be given, don't give them to me. I will send the check back in the mail because I don't want it. I don't want anybody giving me anything. I've worked extremely hard, not as a Black man. I've worked hard as an individual, right? Like when I walk into these rooms and I'm talking to these young people, like sure, there are a couple of Black kids that are sitting in the back, and maybe sometimes I'm like, hey, look, y'all really better listen, okay? Because I know what's out there for you. However, I'm not only talking to them, right? I'm talking to the whole group, and I would hope that that group would view me as an individual standing here that just cares about them, you know? And so for me, it's also, what if for a lot of these young kids, I'm the first Black person that they've had an interaction with, right? And then at home, they only seeing what the media shows, right? And maybe they're watching TV and they're watching social media, and it's showing Black dudes sagging pants and they're drug dealers and gang members and what have you. And all of a sudden, this Black kid comes walking into their gymnasium or to their auditorium, and they're like, who is it? Wait, whoa, mom, we got to talk, because I'm a little confused about what just happened, right? So again, right, there's a lot of things that we can control that we don't. And then there's tons of things that are completely out of our control as African American males. Do I feel like African American males are being targeted by police? Some ways, yes. In some ways, no. Because I'm also a security forces officer for the Air Force. Oh, wow. So I've done the training, and I know I've been in shoot, don't shoot scenarios. I've done all of these different things. So
my views, again, there's so many layers to who I am. So I can sit back and give you a real perspective on a situation. I'm not going to give you a biased perspective on a situation, right? Again, it's that reality oppression, right? Like, am I actually being oppressed or am I not? Right?
Yeah.
Am I making excuses or am I not? Have I really endured these hardships or hadn't I? Right?
I think a lot of people, like, we need to ask ourselves those questions because that's very important. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I think that there is a very specific thing that you need to teach kids that will shape their mind at a very young age to be able to make really good decisions for their life. I learned this later in life, and I wish I would have learned it at like 2. But it's just to ask why. Why? That's it. At the end of the day, we need to be able to critically think on an emotional level. Most of the things that people do that get them into trouble or put them in bad situations is based on how they reacted emotionally. And we have like this thing in our brain that's been like beat in it. It's to point fingers. It's everybody else's fault.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's this person's fault. Well, this person did it. Well, no, I put myself around that person to be able for them to even affect my reality in the first place. But it's every time that you feel bad about something, you ask yourself, well, wait, why do I feel bad? If you teach kids this at a young age, it will get to the point where it is subconsciously ingrained in their brain when they start to realize that, wait, I don't like that. That didn't make me feel good. That makes me feel bad. Okay, why did it make me feel bad? I feel bad because I went around this person and they spit on my shirt when we were arguing.
And then you think about how something that simple relates to like today's society and the media, right?
Yes.
Because the media is pushing that narrative. It's like, yo, so why is the media pushing this narrative?
Yeah,
it's
right.
I should go and do my own research, right?
Yeah.
I should go and try and figure this out as well, right? And obviously, we're talking about kids, but that's everyone.
Oh no,
No,
for sure.
it's adults
100%.
mainly.
Yeah,
like
not allowing
when my
media
daughter gets tired
alone.
and she's crying and she's had too much sugar, she literally reminds me of all of the people I see on the internet. So I'm just staying off the internet because they're just reacting. Nobody's asking questions.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and the news is feeding into that, and they're just like, oh, we're going to give you the answer, but it's, you want to ask. Me as an individual, I always ask, like, why are they putting that out there?
But
like, because it's
you think about news, right? Like, I want you to believe that I'm giving you the answer.
Yeah.
Because the next time that you are sitting on the couch and you don't know what to do, you're gonna flip on the television and go to my station so that I can continue to give you the answers. Facebook warriors or wherever they want to call themselves, they want to feel like they're giving you the answer. They got it all figured out. They know. So you're gonna fit into my narrative if you don't.
And they're basically working for free because
easy,
they're just,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, so it's just it's again, it's so unfortunate that media is doing what it is doing to so many people, right? Do I believe that media is all bad? Not at all. Because again, when you look at a lot of these situations, I mean, you take a tragic situation like the George Floyd situation, right? Like, you take away camera phones and you take away media, then like
we would never have evidence.
We have a terrible situation that happened, another terrible situation that happened, and nobody saw it or nobody heard of it.
Exactly.
You know, and so media is not all bad, right? It brings some things to the forefront, but then there's a lot of situations that now it becomes public opinion and public perception, and some of these things shouldn't be left up to the public because everybody in the public, they don't have the degree. They don't have the experience. They don't have the background. They don't have the years and years of studying to actually be able to dissect the situation and give an honest opinion on it. Everyone doesn't have that. And it's no offense to the masses, but it is what it is, right? There's a reason that when you get in trouble or you need to do something, you don't go to homeboy around the corner, you go to the lawyer, right? Like if I wanted to, hey, I need you to represent me in court, and, you know, because I know you're really strong. You know what I'm saying? You can handle yourself, and like, no, I think I'll pass. I'm going to go to the individual that has that experience, the professional, right? So I think now with media, it's allowed everyone else to be a professional, right? Like, and of course, don't get me wrong, if you got over 10,000 followers, everybody should listen to you. Like, wait, what? Like, this is crazy. Like,
see, that's what another question was going to be is like, how do you feel? Obviously, you're an influencer. Well, you are an influencer. So how do you feel about kids being raised, because they're on their phones and they're on their computers, being raised by influencers and role models. Do you feel like they should look up to them at a certain age, or how do you feel about that? Because I know people should have role models, but don't you think that it should start at home?
So the issue where, like, so I fall in between there,
Yeah.
right? If it can start at home, I believe that it should start at home. For a lot of kids, it can't start at home because they don't have a home. Even the kids that actually are at a house every day, they don't actually have a home. It never feels like it's a home, right? So mom may be there and dad may be there, but dad and mom may both be terrible, and it just is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, I can appreciate that young kid going onto Instagram and maybe finding my page, and I'm on there today, and I'm like, hey guys, good morning. I need you to go out and just have a great day. I need you to focus on learning something today. That's it. And then at the end of the day, I want you to just write it down, and then I just want you to close up that book and do the same thing tomorrow, right? And if that's the only positive message that kid got for the day, even though they're staying with mom and dad and brother and sister or aunt or uncle or grandparents, whoever that
Their
guardian is,
yeah.
you know, maybe they're just not doing it. And again, no offense to that individual, because maybe they're not equipped with the tools to do so, because
Absolutely.
they don't know how to do it, and they've been subjected to the media and the hardship or whatever it is, the oppression or whatever it is. Again, it's not for me to decide to say, hey,
It's
you're supposed to be
negative
exactly.
yeah.
I'm neither negative nor positive.
No.
However, I just fall in that gray area where I say, so is the kid getting it or not? And if they're not, like, can you just give them my Instagram, please?
Yeah.
Like, right? And so there's two ways, right? And then there's the influencers that, like, obviously I don't think anybody should be following them. Like,
Right.
I'm like, wait, this is crazy. Like,
Right.
this person has 200,000
And
followers.
they're like the highest.
Yeah. I'm like, whoa. And again, I don't care. I can have
Yeah.
2 followers and I would still be doing my
Right.
page would look the exact same.
Exactly.
However, when I'm looking at some of these people, I'm like, yo, there's no way. Like, I need social media to start to monitor social media, right? Like, if everybody all of a sudden started to
'Cause
be
they
like,
started
hey,
doing it
yo,
to TV, so
boycott
why
this
not?
person's page, boycott this, the same way that now when somebody gives an opinion, everybody's like, oh,
Take
bring
it
it to
off.
the forefront,
Yeah.
right? I'm following. Yo, so how about you encourage other people to unfollow all of this nonsense? That would be fantastic. And then push them to now follow the positive. So now
Yeah.
what happens is your social media page changes and all the feeds that you see, it changes, right?
That
Like,
actually-
I mean, imagine that.
That actually is a really good idea. I mean, if they were to start censoring certain things, like, for instance, like there's
Scary word right there.
different,
Scary.
right? There's different influencers that maybe are talking about drugs, or there's a lot of influencers that are women with their booty out, just shaking it. You know,
Whatever it is.
If
And
they actually
no
have,
offense to you guys,
no, but I'm just saying. But I don't want my 8-year-old
No, it's
kid watching that. So maybe they should start actually, if someone's content is predominantly based on them promoting marijuana, or
just
it's
promoting anything that isn't positively
Right.
influential for a young individual, because they're the reason. Like, that is for them. That's for the young kids.
No,
like, it just is what it is,
exactly.
right? Because
It is.
it's gonna get even
It's the
more
video
like
game
it's,
culture.
oh my gosh, it's gonna
Like,
get
that's
even
what
more
it
crazy,
is.
right? Like, so to be like, you know what? No, my kid can't have social media. They can't play no video games. It's
can't
like
do that.
you're gonna do your kid a extreme disservice. That's what you're
Yeah.
gonna do. And then now when you got the kid that's like, every time they want to go to little Johnny house because they can go do whatever, now they start to form a total different mindset, right? Every time I get away from home, I'm going to try and go do this. And,
Yeah.
and that little bit turns into a lot,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
And that's where
every
you
time.
start to get this individual that leads this life of maybe drugs, or now they're
And
experimenting.
you try to
with-
say you
and-
didn't raise that kid.
and I didn't
and
raise
of
my
course
kid to
you
be that
didn't.
way. Like, no. Well, actually, you kind of did.
Yeah.
You played a part, you know? So when you think about, like you said, I mean, like, what? Social media, come on. Like, all right, how about we censor ourselves, right?
right.
And also the responsibility shouldn't rely solely on Facebook. It should.
No.
What's his name? Who's the Mark
Mark
Zuckerberg?
Zuckerberg,
Right. It
yeah.
shouldn't be Mark Zuckerberg's job to be like, all right, guys, all right, team, like, we're gonna sit in here, we're gonna just take everybody's post down. That's whatever. No, like, how
No,
about?
not-
no, I
not
know what
take
you're
it
saying.
down.
No, I know what you're
But-
saying. I'm just
okay.
saying that, like, as individuals, imagine if 1 million individuals that followed whoever was finally like, you know what, this is foolish, right?
Right.
How about we all just revert and go follow someone else, right? Again,
Absolutely.
like, when I'm talking to young kids, right? Kids that are like, yo, so anybody that's like social media is terrible. Oh my gosh, like my feed, I love it.
not.
I love my feed. I'm like, I follow like young kids that are doing some awesome things. I follow some awesome motivational speakers. I follow some athletes that are doing great things. But anytime I see somebody doing something stupid or negative, I'm like, yo, let me just unfollow this page.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't feel any type of way about it. I don't have to follow you. It doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah.
But so social media for me is awesome. I love it, right?
That should be something that's taught. Then,
but a lot of people aren't doing that. Right?
Yeah,
It's like,
no.
I gotta follow this person. I just because me and Zach are friends, I have to follow Zach,
Yeah.
right? So every time I see Zach post something negative, whether I agree with it or not, I'm gonna feel some type of way,
Yeah.
right? And now I feel some type of way towards Zach because of his personal views. When like he's a great person, like he's
Right.
entitled to. Maybe he likes Trump. Maybe I don't.
Yeah.
No, I do not
I'm
like
like-
Trump. Let me put that out there right now. No, I'm good.
I mean, but again, right? Maybe our political views are different or whatever
Yeah.
it is, right?
Right.
So I should hate him because, like, I don't know. Maybe he runs a Fortune 500 company, and Fortune 500 company is doing good with what's going on in Republican America, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and maybe I'm a Democrat and low wage worker from whatever, right? So I hate Republican America, right?
Yeah.
Like, has nothing to do with he's an awesome person or what have you. you know?
Exactly.
So I think we should start to censor ourselves as well as talk to our kids about those types of things. Again, you talk about that reality oppression, right?
Self-awareness.
Again, right?
Yeah, that's
you know,
it,
like,
the self-awareness.
I mean, you think about now, you have tons of African American kids right now, and they're following tons of individuals that the only thing that they're posting is every single time that they see a black person get shot, a black person fighting the police, a black person. And again, I'm not saying don't put it out there. The awareness is awesome. However, like now my
There needs to be a
13-year-old
balance.
kid, that's all they see.
Yeah.
So what should this 13-year-old do when they see the cop? I'm gonna be like, yo, let me get out of here too.
No,
Like, why wouldn't I?
exactly,
If
and
I'm
that's not how it should be.
Exactly. It's been ingrained in my
If
mind.
they
to be
start
like,
running, like,
I saw a
why do
video.
you think this kid is running?
Yeah.
It's because you showed him this constantly.
and the world's telling him that that's what you always have to do, and it's not always.
No.
It's so unfortunate, you know.
That's
Obviously,
why I
it's-
think when I was younger, there used to be parades. Like, I don't know if you guys ever had anything like that, but in Phoenix, we would always have like these random parades. And so my parents would take me, but there would be different forms of law enforcement. There would be army, there would be military, and I would go. And like now, I never see anything like that. I feel like in different communities, there should be more of there should be more things like that. Maybe not a parade, but just something positive. I mean, like
Of
what you
course,
were
it's
telling
that
me that your
community
They need to
involvement.
bring.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, we played basketball at the community centers. You could go to a community center and there's tons of kids in a positive environment where we had student councils and youth councils, and we would go on field trips, and we would do all these like amazing things and be around like just great environments. And over the years, those have like disappeared.
And now when you go, you gotta pay.
It's the funding.
You gotta
Like,
pay
the kid, and you're asking
That's
the
it.
10-year-old, like, hey, you got
$20
you
for
got
the
your
whole
card
year.
and the kid. I barely
My
had lunch
parents don't
today.
even-
I don't know what you
Exactly,
mean.
that's it.
I just want to come to the gym because if I go back home, I'm gonna probably end up standing on the corner,
Yeah.
right? So like, I'm trying to get to the community center to get out of this,
Yeah.
right? Like, and so again, there's just so many layers to, right? Like, there's no one answer to just sum up everything and then just to think that, all right, cool, this is the answer. Everybody go with it. All right, guys, have a great night.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no way. You know, there's just so
No.
many layers, but it's our job to do things like this.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
and
I don't-
share
maybe there's somebody
experiences
watching
to
and they're like,
kids.
man, like that's interesting. Maybe there's somebody watching and they're like, these guys are stupid. That's fine too.
right.
I don't know,
Right,
come up with whatever it is that you.
At least you have an opinion for
Exactly,
yourself. Like,
and
that's
that's it. That's what we want. You want you to be a
Yeah.
free thinking individual,
Yes.
but also teach other people to be free thinking individuals also, and then take the time and listen to what you have to say
Yeah.
without like,
Yeah, you
girl,
can't-
you better shut up. That's wrong. Like,
Right.
whoa, wait, relax.
Let me just
like,
unfollow you because you're talking to me.
exactly,
Like, can
because
we just talk? You're my friend. Like,
yeah, exactly,
no, I
right? Yeah, of
can't.
course.
Yeah, you can't force anybody to do anything. You can plant a seed though.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
I mean, and if enough seeds are planted, eventually one of them is gonna
Yeah.
blossom. That's
And
just
that's
how
what-
it works.
that's what
you
you're
know?
doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my only issue is that as far as social media goes, as far as literally gaming, everything, it's all violence and sex, which is fine. That's what I grew up on, but I didn't want to be a part of that life. But there was a side of me that was like, I did glorify strippers. Like, I just thought that they were like some of the best things in the world. And I'm like, well, maybe it's because I watched Players Club when it first came out in theaters. Like, why was I watching that at such a young age? But there's different steps that I think that we can all take in order for this whole world to kind of develop in a better sense. Like,
I truly believe, like I was talking about it earlier, it's about having self-awareness and understanding how you feel and taking responsibility for these things. Like, it's weird because even though my grandmother like put me in a good environment, I still kind of went away from it.
Well, because you didn't get to see, like, because you were probably in such a good environment, you're like, well, what is this about? Like, what is it?
Well, I was in a good environment at home, but when I go outside of home, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? It's different. And it's really powerful. That's why I like to touch on it so much, is that the minute that you start having self-awareness to how you feel and figure out, okay, why do I feel this way? How do I not let it happen again? It's a weird feeling, but you'll instantly feel good, because we as people are meant to learn and grow and progress.
Elevate.
When you are stuck in this same level, it becomes depressing. So it's the weirdest thing, but I promise you guys, if you practice this at home, every time you start to feel bad, you might feel bad for 10 hours until you realize, well, I felt bad all day. Why did I feel bad? I felt bad because of this. And if you practice it, it eventually becomes a subconscious part of you. If you want to teach your kids something that will really help them, like, man, do amazing things in life, when it gets to that point where you practice it enough, it becomes a subconscious part of you. Like
self-reflection.
Right. It gets to the point where you don't even have to think about, oh, I feel bad. You're like, oh, I feel bad. I don't like that. Hold on. How do I not let that happen again? And you automatically go into a mindset where you're thinking about what you want, not what you dislike, what you want. And if you're always thinking about what you want to happen and good things in your brain and the things that you like want, you start manifesting things, and things just start coming from all these different directions. And really, it's the most basic thing you could teach a kid. Well, you feel bad? Why? You know what I mean? It's nothing. It's not even like.
It's interesting that you raise that perspective, because if you take that entire perspective and you put it in society today, right? And imagine if every time I turn on CNN or Channel 12 or 10 or 15 or 3 or 12 or whatever, right? Imagine if every time I turned it on, they were talking about what it is that we could do to change the narratives that we have today, right? Everyone's stuck in that like depressed state of mind that like, again, see, and that's why you ask that oppression question, right? Now it's like, yo, even if I didn't want to be oppressed, or even if I personally have never experienced racism, I have an African American male, now I'm just like, no, I'm oppressed too. Like, because the narrative isn't like, yo, so how do we go forward? What do we do to go forward, right? And then bringing people on television that are talking about different ways to elevate and different ways to be better, different ways to grow, right? And you know, and even I tell my friends all the time, everybody hates it. I'm like, yo, look, all right, cool. Give me 60 individuals, right, that don't have criminal records, and they are sharp individuals, they are good individuals, they have great character, and I need all of them, whether you're black, whether you're whatever, and I need all of you guys to go down to Phoenix Police or Mesa PD or Tempe PD and go apply for a job. And when you go apply for that job, 50 of you guys aren't going to be partners with 50 individuals. You're going to go be partners with other people, right? So when I see Zach out here, or Zach sees me and I'm out here making a stupid decision, Zach can grab me by the reins and reel me back in, right? Because that's how you change things from the inside, right? And so again, a lot of people get mad at my views, they get mad at my perspectives, but I'm giving you the reality, because I'm involved in so many different layers.
Reality is important.
Exactly. That's what's important, and nobody's really looking at the reality. It's, no, I'm pissed off, and I have my opinion, and this is my view, and you're going to get it, and you're going to listen, and you're going to agree.
That's it. You're going to listen, you're going to agree.
Like,
you're going to change your mind.
Yeah, that's the end of the conversation.
What you just said made me think about something, and it has to do with when we went out to the protests and things like that. When you said that we need to speak about like what we want, I really disliked the chant, no justice, no peace. I'm like, why are they saying that? Shouldn't they be saying, we deserve justice, we deserve peace? you know, you're speaking it into existence. You know what I mean? Because when you hear that over and over, no justice, no peace, no justice, no peace, you're like, no justice, no peace. If you're saying we deserve justice, we deserve peace, we're going to get justice, we're going to get peace, that creates a different mindset.
But I also
understand.
No.
I
totally agree with you, right? I also believe that there's not anyone that's out there that's thinking about that one thing, right? No,
right.
We're like, yo, look, we can't get justice. We're about to act up, right?
Yeah.
And things aren't going to be able to be okay for everybody else if they can't be okay for us, which is a narrative that, like, I don't disagree with. However, there's always a better way that you can maybe say something or formulate a sentence to make it even better. At the end of the day, yelling Black Lives Matter, yelling no justice, no peace, yelling I hate cops, yelling whatever it is, that right there, and just as it sits by itself, it's not going to do anything for anybody. Except make another individual aware that that's how you feel, which is totally fine, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, again, I just go back to, and that's where I've sat every day watching all of this stuff, right? I'm like, yo, like, where are all the people that's talking about, like, what we do next?
Yeah.
Where are those individuals?
There's nobody saying
I'm like,
that.
where are these people?
Because
and why
the news
isn't it
just
on?
wants you to
Because
keep
the
taking
news
it
wants to
in.
loop everything.
That's it.
Because why? Now you have no choice but to watch whatever it is I put on
and
air.
Vote for one
And
person.
vote for whoever and agree, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just, again, it takes away that ability for you to be a free thinker, right? And
that's
again,
what we're supposed to be
that's
about.
what we're supposed to be
like
about.
In
That's
America, we're supposed to be able to be free thinkers, and we're supposed to be free at least, you know, in some way.
Yeah,
and
100%.
I feel like we are, but then the news makes me feel sometimes like I'm not, and it's like, that's me putting me into a world where maybe I'm not free, but now
it's like a virtual reality. Like you're locked in. It's like, yo, let me take these goggles off for a second. Like, I need some air because this is intense, right?
Yeah.
The reason why it's like that is because corporations aren't even supposed to be able to own media outlets. When America was established, it was supposed to be individuals who worked for these like companies that did what they did, and so now everything's just manipulated. So even when you look at like Instagram, Facebook, the news, everything's manipulated. So it does create a problem when you're trying to, you have to like literally go search for a specific keyword or topic to be able to find it. And if you haven't found that yet, most of the time
or go on Google Scholar.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, I know it's a lot of reading, but you know what? At least you'll find something. Like, it's ridiculous that this is what we have now, because now I think that there has to be a lot more options in school to be able to learn what not to do with these devices and what not to go onto. And it's sad that the news is a part of that. Like, don't use that because you need to go further and get all of the facts, which is fine and it's good. But the news used to be something that you could go to and it would be, you know, it would be facts, and they're helping people. But I mean, maybe it wasn't like that, but that's how I feel. That's what I thought. And that's what I was taught in school.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we all were
like.
taught.
We're all it's unbiased. You can go to the newspaper, unbiased. Go to the news, unbiased. Like now, it's the most biased thing that we have to deal with.
Every news channel has an agenda, and it's to create more viewers, so they can sell more things for their commercials.
Because if they don't, then they
lose money.
Exactly. Right? Like, I mean, it's a business at the end of the day.
Billions. They've earned billions this year. It's just like, there's so many people starving right now and they don't have jobs. What's up with that? Like,
that takes me back to the question of, like I said, they say sex sells. Why do they feel like this is what they need to sell us and push us all the time? That's the real question. Why? And it's hard to find an answer for that.
And you won't, because there's so many layers to it. Like, you can literally get lost, like legit mentally. You're like, yo, my brain hurts. It's crazy, right? Like trying to actually dissect what's really going on in the world, right? I mean, you have like people, conspiracy theories and all this other different stuff, you know, but it all goes back to media. But like, all in all, there just has to be a bigger push for individuals that have platforms. I don't care whatever platform you have, individuals that have platforms to also be trying to push change but don't just push the word change.
Yeah.
Push
No.
The action of
action,
change? Yeah.
right? Like, so what does this look
What
like?
should they be doing?
Because
Yeah.
again, you're not pushing that change for, or maybe you are, I guess. You're talking to your 20 friends, like your 20 followers. You're talking to your 185 followers, or right? Like, there are some young people involved in there somewhere who can actually
Make a
take,
difference,
even if you don't know how to execute it, they might be able to execute it,
Yeah.
right? Like, and it's not going to
And
be
a lot of
today.
young people
They are
definitely,
really smart, right?
yes.
So giving them the opportunity to go in and say, you know what, like, I don't like the way laws are written. How do I learn how to get involved in writing laws? How do I do that? What does that look like, right? Regardless if I'm black, white, doesn't matter.
No.
I just want you to feel as a young person like you are capable of going and doing that, right? Like, why isn't that cool? That's not cool, right?
No.
But like, but all
Boring,
everything,
like-
you know what I'm saying? Oh, that's stupid. That's
Yeah.
boring. Like, it doesn't matter, right? So again, there
But
just
it
needs to be a
does.
bigger push on media from its influencers, from its media, from its news. There has to be anybody that has a platform, anyone. They need to be trying to push some sort of positive change with action involved.
Yeah.
And if the action isn't involved, you should just be quiet and keep your
Because
opinions
everybody's
to
telling you
yourself.
how to vote now. Like, they're telling you
Yeah.
that, but it's like, but how do I become a better person? You want me to just keep eating out of your hand, and maybe I'm going to find the answer by just listening to your song,
And
or, you know,
of
like,
course,
it's just,
right?
it's
Like-
unfortunate that they're not just laying out the steps, the simple steps for children that are watching them to be able to be a better human. And like,
everybody's saying go vote.
Yeah.
But like, where do I find the information about the individuals on the ballot?
No,
How about that
exactly.
conversation?
Oh, man,
Like, what do you mean?
it's-
Like, no, I have no problem.
Nobody's
Yes, please
talking
vote.
about that.
But like, if you just go and you're only voting based off of what
What
social
everybody else-
media told you to do, right? I'm gonna fall into this narrative because I come from this place or I feel this way or whatever.
everybody else in this movie.
I don't even-
Exactly. Like, where do you find the information on the ballot? Who's on the ballot, right?
I don't even know who's running besides Trump and Biden.
Nobody. Trump and Biden.
It's the weirdest thing ever. This is the only things that you're seeing
There's
pushed.
another guy I think he's a libertarian or something like that.
I don't know.
They,
It
But
I've
it
seen
doesn't,
it
it doesn't
mentioned a
matter.
couple
It's, gonna,
times, but
it's
no.
Trump and Biden. Like,
Yeah,
so those
that's
two.
it.
Like,
But how? We haven't even really started the election yet.
Look at it.
That's the craziest
It's-
part.
it's the media.
man.
It's-
Like,
it's the media.
That's the-
What's happened
Yeah.
this year that was able to divide us. Just so it's straight down the line. It's
I don't even understand why Bernie Sanders dropped out, because the message that he was pushing, free healthcare, which is what people need right now. We just went through a virus and an
yeah, but he
outbreak.
would have had to run,
He
do
would've-
all of his stuff via
it's-
stream. He
it's-
can't really, or in a box.
It's weird that he dropped out. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
another topic, but whole nother
Yeah, no,
topic.
Corona
again-
would have affected him heavily.
100.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
100%. Yeah.
That's it. I mean,
All in all, it's just, I mean, if you have a platform, do something with that platform.
Yeah.
Do something positive with that platform.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing something positive with your platform, I think, because it's my opinion, that you should not have that platform. Period.
Right.
I don't care. It doesn't make
if you're
any
not
difference.
doing something positive to
something-
change somebody's life,
Something, right? Like,
It's done.
However,
Like-
again, we are in America, and you should, I guess, be able to do what you want to do.
Yes.
Again, but with that, why aren't individuals coming together and trying to censor that, though, right? Like, yo, this person's extremely negative. This person's whatever, right? Everything they say is has a negative connotation. It's derogatory. It's like offensive. It's right, like, and all of a
Just
sudden that
put it on a
person
different
exactly right, like in
area,
and
you
it's
know,
okay
like-
to do that. You know?
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I've been preaching this for years to young people. Dude, all you have to do is just change your friends list. Because if you change your friends list, social media becomes a different place for you.
what about
Yeah.
Jimmy? He's gonna
Like,
hate me then.
That's
Like-
it. Like, right, that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
It's in real life we do it all the time.
No,
but for some
exactly.
reason people are afraid to do it on this social media platform. In real life, I'm like, yo, I'm
All
not
day,
hanging
yeah.
out with y'all no
All
more. This is
day.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like, y'all going to prison. I don't want to go to jail, so I think I'm gonna go hang out with the guys that aren't doing that. But
Yeah.
on
Right.
social media, it's like I have no problem being consumed with your message on social media, right? Like, and feeling bad if I now try to disconnect myself from
Yeah.
that, right? Like, and again, social media can be whatever you want it to be. I think it's absolutely amazing what social media is able to do. The fact that we're able to sit here and share a message
Yeah,
and
no,
have the possibility for millions of people to actually see it is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
However, everyone should have a personal obligation to filter themselves and to uphold a certain set of standards,
Especially because there's
Yeah.
so many people at these protests that if all of these people were like you, or just trying to make that difference on their social medias, I think that could be a big push.
It would definitely
again,
create a
imagine
Not just going to the protest,
200,
but
300,
living that
400 people
message.
all of a sudden. Like you can take 1 million people in a group, right? And you start to go through it. And I say, all right, the 100 of you guys, I know that you're capable of doing this. I need you guys to be lawyers. And I need you to be the best lawyers that you can possibly be. And I need you to represent people for what the case is. And I need you to believe in people and just be great. And you group right here, this group, you guys, I need you guys to all be police officers, right? I need you to be the best police officer that you could possibly be, right? You are an amazing individual. I need you to run for president. Okay, I need you to do everything you need to do to get in the position to run for president. It doesn't make me any difference if you're black or white. If there's a white individual and I feel like this white individual has a better opportunity, that is fantastic. Okay, but look, white guy, I need you to again, fit the narrative, right?
Yes.
Go with the flow or whatever it is. If you're gonna get a better opportunity than I'm gonna get, then I'm gonna vote for you. But however, right, I need you to go off and be a great individual and care about all people and push good standards and be right. Like, imagine what would happen if we started to divide these different groups that way instead of negatively dividing all these groups to say everything's stupid, we hate each other, you hate me for my view, I hate you for your view. It's just like, yo, this is crazy. So how do we move forward? Because again, nobody's talking about
There's
that.
going to be a lot of kids that are going to hate. They're either going to hate white people or they're going to hate police officers, and that is so. It's just so unacceptable because we're trying to make everything equal.
Yeah,
Like, that's the
or
whole
you
thing.
get the other side of now you're going to get a lot of kids that are going to hate black people.
Black
Or they're going to
people,
hate
yeah.
black. Oh, well, like my dad's a police officer and a black guy made him lose his job, right? And it's just like, yo, it's so much deeper than that, right? That's why it's easier for us to have those conversations with individuals at that young age and say, hey, look, okay, this is what's going on. Okay, I'm going to just give you all the facts that I have.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to allow you to be a free thinking individual.
Because they're going to think,
of course, right?
Obviously that officer was bad, but they're not going to look at, that officer is this color. Like, it's not like that. It's like, there's different people in this world that do bad things, but that's not the majority. And you know what? In this certain country, it may be a lot, and you need to know that to make sure that you hold yourself accountable, but also maybe one day you can hold them accountable.
100%,
but it's just it's hard. Like, it's hard to even get to that point. But I mean, just like you said, putting it in their minds to be able to think for themselves and make that difference is going to be heavy. That's going to be huge, but a lot of parents aren't doing
and
that.
it's unfortunate. It's falling. It's
How do
going
they,
to
like-
solely fall on that right there, social media. It's going to fall on social media. It has to be social media.
Yeah, it is.
Has to, because that's what the kids are doing.
They're never going to create a class in school that teaches people to think that way, because what happens is if you have all of these free thinkers who works at Taco Bell and McDonald's, and it messes up the way this system has been created, So it definitely has to start with like people who are aware and push this message for sure.
How do you start your own school? How do we make that happen?
Yeah, exactly, right.
Right.
But I'm not the person that's like so naive to believe that, like, right, okay, let me rephrase that, right? So I'm the guy that says, like, yo, you want to work at a grocery store? I just need you to be the best grocery store employee that you could possibly be. And if that's all that life has for you, that is okay. That's fine.
100%.
It doesn't mean that you are less than anybody else. It just means that that's the life that you wanted for yourself, and that's okay. And you lived a great life, and you are a great
You're
person.
greeting people.
Exactly.
You're taking care of them. Like,
because we need
everybody
you
says
as
hi to you
much,
and they
just
know
as,
you.
exactly, just as much as we need anybody else, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I just, again, that media narrative of like, hey, if you don't got the new Balenciagas, you're a loser.
Right.
And if you're not going to clubs every weekend, you're a weirdo. And if you want, like, that whole narrative is being pushed by social media. It's
Yeah.
definitely, that's not what's being pushed in the majority of households.
No.
It's just that the majority of households are on social media.
It creates consumerism. That's what
Yeah.
that's literally, it just creates dollars.
Yeah.
That's what it creates. That's why they shove all these things in our face that this is cool and this is great and this is, it makes you go buy stuff. That's what it is.
I just need people to just be good people.
Yeah.
Just be good
That's
people,
it.
period. I don't care who you are, and I don't care what you've experienced. I don't care what you've been through. Find a way to do better and to be better, regardless. Right?
Because then you could change somebody by that one smile
100%.
because they've never seen, I've never seen a white guy smile at me.
100%.
Like, wow, that's amazing. Or an officer actually wave.
Yeah.
Like, I remember that used to happen all the time.
Yeah.
But like now I think that there's like this fear on both sides that like nobody wants to be nice to each other anymore.
No, not at all.
And it's like, why? Like, you're my neighbor. You live in this, like, in the same apartment complex, but we've never talked. Like,
Right.
why is that?
And now we're
It's
definitely
weird.
not going to talk.
No, it's awkward.
It's weird because you can smile in someone's face and say, "Hey, how you doing?" and they look away or look. If you give someone a compliment, sometimes they're like, they get like weirded out from it.
But then you find their Instagram and you say something, they're like,
Yeah, and
yes,
then they're on it like, yeah,
finally,
yeah.
got that follower.
Yeah.
Like,
Media, everything's media driven. Everything's media driven.
so it has to be censored now.
Has to.
I think it's gotten to the point where, it's way more important than television.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
so,
But again,
and we did it too.
Where does the censorship start? And that's where
I think
I go back to. It has to be a constructive movement.
Yeah.
By
Well, I
the-
think that's why
by
we look at the history
individuals.
of how it started with the television.
Yeah, yeah.
With how
Yeah,
that was,
yeah.
and just trying to figure out how do we do it in a way that's not cutting off people's rights, which is number one.
But that's where the only way that we would actually be able to do it and actually impact masses to where all of a sudden people start to say, man, my social media is cool. Like, I like it on my Facebook. I like it on my Instagram. Is only done if I'm actually able to sit down and grab my phone and say, all right, cool, these two gotta go. You're deleted. You gotta go. Imagine what that would do for you. It's literally
I've
like
done
you're
that
lifting
before.
a weight off of your shoulders. And the next time that I log into social media, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Oh my
Right.
gosh, my friends are doing good and they're promoting positivity. And does that mean that you're unaware of what's actually going on in the world?
No, because
Not
you're doing
at
your
all.
own research.
You're doing your own research,
Yeah,
right?
and then you're going back to social
It-
media for your positive experience.
The positive experience and that positive affirmation from my
Yeah.
other friends, right? Now I'm free to post my thoughts or do whatever and not feel like I'm going to be victimized for it, right?
Absolutely.
Follow who you want to follow and have who you want to follow
Yeah.
you back. And then that's
Right.
the end of that,
That's
right?
it.
It doesn't have to be, everyone's trying to be something that they don't have to be,
Yeah.
right? Like, and it's
Well,
okay
being
to
a
just
rapper
be
or a
you.
metal star or like a rock star, whatever, that is so, it's so glorified, but it seems so easy becoming a DJ,
Yeah.
all of these different things. So it's like, and a lot of those people like Marshmallow, he's actually pushing very positive things. But again, where are the steps, that these kids can take?
Yeah.
So I think that somebody like you accompanying him in those different atmospheres would be amazing.
Yeah, I can tell you this, like all of the things that I've been able to do, right? I'll do this, right? I've never even told anybody this story. My wife knows, and obviously my family. So I was 13 years old. My mom was murdered, right? She was murdered by a boyfriend. She was shot and killed, left to die, driveway of her home, right? So that story, a lot of people know. There's a couple of pieces to that story that nobody has heard, right? And this is probably going to be the first time that a lot of people hear it. So my oldest brother, he was in prison for a really long time. Started his prison career. That's neither here nor there. So during the extent that my brother was in prison, he started to do research on exactly what happened with my mom's murder. So long story short, my mom was murdered by a white male. When the police arrived on the scene, there were 3 different white police officers, and every single one of them wrote up a different report. I have the reports at my house right now. So every single police officer wrote up a different report, and one arrived on scene and said that she was dead upon arrival. One arrived on scene and said that he had spoke to her and she was responsive and he had called for air support. And then the other one said that he had arrived on scene and he was asking her about her boyfriend at the time, right? I almost said his name and I don't want to do that. So
Yeah.
he was asking her. So, which is absolutely unreal to me. I'm like looking at this all these years later, right? Crazy. So the long story short, the guy, white male, 3 white police officers, the guy goes to prison for 3 days. And he gets out of prison, and that's the end of the situation. End of the story, everything's closed. It was deemed as a domestic dispute, said that she had drugs in her system, all these different things. At my house currently, I have a toxicology reports also, and there's nothing in her system. So there's nothing in my mom's system. She gets into this dispute. I wasn't there, so I don't know exactly what happened. Maybe they were fighting, I don't know. However, there are a lot of things that don't make sense in this situation. So let's fast forward to today, and you think about what's going on in the world. One would lead me to believe that I should be the person standing at the front, very front of this protest, and I should be yelling at the top of my lungs that the police suck and I hate them and F the police and all of these different things, because I've personally been affected or impacted by a situation that like is extremely sketchy for me, right? And
Absolutely.
So again, that reality comes into play, and I have to start to say, is this real that everyone's this way? Right? It took a lot for me to summon up that strength to see a police officer and say, hey, sir, I hope you have a good day. Right? Because in my mind, I'm now trying to change the narrative that if that officer ever encounters another black person, another black mom, right, another individual, that they'll think twice about the young black kid that they saw, and they would understand that every black individual isn't an individual that is murdering or stealing or looting.
They're
or doing
just
whatever,
an individual,
right?
just
They're
like
an
you.
individual like you, exactly. So I had to start to use my platform for just that, right? Being an individual and going in and showing people a different way. And so when we talk now about like, yo, how do you change this, right? I feel extremely passionate about everything that I do. And I feel extremely oppressed in a lot of ways from the system because of the things that I've been subjected to.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And not only just me, my brother, and both of my brothers and my sisters, right? Like here we are, young black kids, and we have to grow up in a world now. So now you think about 7 different minds that are formulated based off of one situation that happened, right? All of us aren't going to go forward and believe what I believe, right? So now when you have an individual that hates the police, can you blame this individual? Is it right? Is it wrong? Is it for me to decide?
It's
no,
literally
right?
not
Not
for us
at
to
all.
decide.
You know, so it's just again, right? Having media push these narratives that like all police officers are bad, all black people are bad, all black guys are thugs, all black, like yo, like all right, everybody just relax. Everyone, be quiet, right? Like all the black people in the room, shut up. All the white people in the room, shut up. All the police officers in the room, shut up. Everybody just shut up for a second, okay? And let's figure out how we go forward. I'm not interested in anything behind me, right? Again, because I talk to my grandma on the daily, and she's not interested with anything behind her. And she went
That's
through
amazing.
9,000 times worse situations than any of the young people that I'm talking to or anybody that's my age. And she's able to say it's behind me. I just want to be better, and I want to see the world be better. So if this individual can do that, why can I at 31 do that, right? So again, there needs to be a push. You have all these athletes, you have all these influential individuals, you have all these influencers, you have all these people. Like, okay, hey, give me something to do. Tell me something that I'm supposed to be doing that can actually affect change tomorrow. What can I do today that can affect something tomorrow? Because me just standing here yelling until I get tired, like, yo, what does that do? Like I get to just go to sleep and wake up and do it all over again. It wastes a bunch of time, waste a bunch of days. And I can promise you that if there are those individuals that are sitting at the top and they're like, yo, I can't wait till these guys just let them protest, doesn't matter, right? Because I can promise you that there are some individuals that are that way. Right? Like let them just protest. They're gonna get tired, and then when they get tired, they'll go in the house and whatever. We'll move on.
It'll be over. Just
so
like
now that going out there and wanting to see change without actually finding out a way to affect that change, what do you do? Like, what do you do? Right? Like, here we are, we're just going to keep wasting time.
Yeah.
It does nothing for anyone.
No.
You know? So it's just like, let's just all find a way to be better. Let's find a way to coexist.
What's your passion and how do you move towards that? And if your passion right now is Black Lives Matter or whatever, go ahead and read up on it and figure out what you can do to actually make these laws change. Or what can your little cousin do if your little cousin seems like they're bright enough to do that?
Yeah.
Like,
because I tell people now, right, the success isn't for everyone.
No.
right? Like it's probably not.
It doesn't
for
make
you.
everyone.
people
It
like
doesn't
to-
make everybody happy.
No,
No,
you know,
exactly.
and you think about certain things, right? Maybe it's not for you to be a millionaire. Maybe it's for you to spark something in your daughter to be
Right.
the millionaire.
Yeah.
Like, and nobody wants to agree. They're like, wait, what? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? What about my life? What about what I want?
Yeah,
What about,
no.
right? And it's just like, yo, I understand that. However, it's not always for you, right? And everyone thinks that it's for them.
Yeah.
It's for me
No,
to
everybody's
make the
very-
change. I got to make the change. So this has to happen today. And it's like, yo, maybe you just need to just calm down because you're a very intellectual individual, right? Maybe you just need to plant some seeds.
Right.
And those seeds that you planted.
And it feels so good.
I mean, oh my gosh. And when you die and you're dead and gone and long time, 30 years after, 40 years after, maybe those young people are doing what they're doing because
of
you laid that seed.
Yeah.
So in all reality, you impacted the world.
You live
right?
on, yeah.
But right
You
now
just
you're
keep
so
going.
stubborn that you won't even get to actually impact the world because you are so invested in success being for you. This has to happen for me.
No,
Nope, I don't care.
exactly.
Right? And it's the irony in that is like that's sad, right? It's sad because we know plenty of individuals that can be doing more.
Yeah, no,
But they rather resort to negativity and violence and hate, you know, and it's just like, dude, like, I know you. I know that you're capable of, like, it's probably not you, but
Yeah.
your son or your daughter, holy crap, like they're 3 and
Give them a chance.
they can tell you who's who's on city council boards. They can do this, like, yo, this kid's like, I don't know, that kid might be up to something. Like, you might want to start to send that kid to the better schools. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and invest everything that you have in that young individual because you know that young individual can go and actually make the change happen that you're fighting for
Yeah.
or that you're arguing about, right? Or whatever it is. You know, so,
Absolutely.
yeah.
No, thank you for sharing that. Like
No,
that,
I appreciate you
I think
guys.
a lot of people really do need to hear that because there is so much emotion involved, and so it's hard to kind of take yourself away from that emotion. So if you can hear somebody else's story or somebody else's experience that they have been through personally to kind of take you out of that and snap you out of it and kind of think for yourself for a second and be like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I hope that that's something that can make that difference.
I mean, you look at now, I'm a security forces officer in the Air Force, right? I didn't join security forces. So security forces, what that is, it's like, it's actual police, right?
Yeah,
You're the police
that's-
for the Air
MP?
Force base or what have you, right? It's similar to what an
MP,
MP
right?
is for the Army.
Okay.
The only reason that I do that is because I get the actual experience of being in a shoot, don't shoot scenario. I get the actual experience of
And you
use
can
of
teach
force. So now I can go back into communities and I can go back into my house and I can hang out with my young cousins and say, all right, look here. When the police pulls you over, this is what you're going to do. I don't care what you want to do. This is what you're going to do. And this is
Yeah.
why. Now, obviously, we cannot control whatever happens on the other end, but you can control your controllables, right?
So what do you say to the people that argue that they shouldn't have to be in a certain way in order for law enforcement to listen to them?
You shouldn't have to be in a certain way, but we're in that way.
Yeah.
That's my response
Yeah.
back to them, right? There's a lot of things that we shouldn't have
Right.
to do, right? You should be able to wake
But
up in the
they're-
morning and you should be able to walk out of the house naked, do whatever you want to do. You
Ah,
should.
oh
I mean, I'm just saying, you
yeah.
should be able to do whatever you want. However, there are just certain bits of reality that like come into play and say, hey, buddy, I need you to figure it out, right? Like, and so again, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
Here I am. I'm a black male. I grew up in South Phoenix. I've seen the drug dealers, the gang members. I've watched the individuals go to prison. I've been racially profiled. I've been guns drawn out on me. My little cousin sitting in the car seat next to me, right? Like, I've seen it all.
Yeah.
However, I'm still a black individual that's standing here and not saying I'm going to kill every police officer. What? Like, whoa, settle down. Like, every guy doesn't fit your negative description, right?
Yeah.
The same way that on the opposite side, from the police standpoint, hey, buddy, I need you to get it together because every black guy doesn't fit your negative description or
Yeah.
every whoever it is, you know? So, like, for me, at this point, it's just more of putting out as much positivity as I can to just help educate people. And again, I don't study social studies, math, reading. Hey, you can put that aside. Right?
Yeah.
I need you to educate yourself on real situations that are going on, right? And so, what's going on? police officers are clearly afraid. So when the police pull me over and it's dark outside, I'm turning on all my interior lights. How about that, right? And my driver license now, it never, ever, ever leaves my vehicle, ever. And if someone needs my identification, right, I will walk to my vehicle. Possibly, I will get it, I'll take it in, and I'm putting it right back to where it goes. So my driver's license, my registration, my insurance, it all sits together, and it always stays together. I've laminated everything all the time, so there's no way they can get messed up. And all the time it sits there. When a police officer pulls me over, I have all that in my hand. It's sitting right on top of my dashboard. My hands are here. Officer, whatever the situation was, here you go. Have a great day. Run what you need to. Give me my ticket, and I'm going to be on my way. I'm not asking you any extra questions. I don't want to even be in that situation as longer than I need to, because odds are is that I'm going somewhere. That's the reason I'm in my vehicle, right? So I need to go to where I need to go to, right? So again, being able to educate people on those types of different things because of the situations that I'm in now is absolutely amazing. But that's the way I know how to make change, right? Because I could do like everybody else and just yell and yell and yell, but like, yo, what does that do?
No, you put yourself in the position and to make changes in different places around the world, and that's
100%.
All right. Well, I think that'll wrap it up. Thank you guys for being on Project Earthling. I learned a lot, and I hope that everybody else learned a lot here too. Thanks, Zach, for sharing your story and everything that kind of affected you. I'm glad that we talked about current events, because I think that that's really, really important right now, especially for the young community. So, thanks, guys.
No, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
I definitely had a good experience. I'm glad we came, I feel like we touched on some good topics for sure.
Yeah, and anytime you guys want to have me back, I'm more than welcome to come and
share
some of my views.
So interesting, and it's amazing what you do.
Thank you.
Can you let people know where to follow you on Instagram so these kids can find you?
They can follow me at Just Keep Pushing JKP. Make sure you have the JKP at the end, because if you do not, I probably won't pop up. So it's Just Keep Pushing JKP, or you can head over to For Life Foundation, and For Life Foundation will pop up. You can also search me on Google, it'll pop up. You can go to Twitter, you can go to LinkedIn, type in Jimmy Scroggins and something will pop up. Jimmy Scroggins on YouTube is all there, as well as jkpushing.com. That'll give you all of the information you need to know about me speaking or traveling or doing
where you'll be next.
Whatever it is I'll be doing next.
Awesome.
And forlifefoundation.com as well. So any individuals that are out there seeking any assistance on the family side, maybe some sort of big brother, big sister program. I have a new university that's starting here called For Life University, where I'll be working with young individuals. Myself and my vice president will be taking young individuals from all different backgrounds. They'll be showing up in suits and ties. They'll be stationed at one of these nice fancy hotels. They'll get to be there, enjoy that ambiance. We'll be talking about finances and literacy. We'll be going over several different things. We'll have bankers coming in and working with these young individuals and teaching them the things that everyone complains that they don't get taught in school. So trying to attack that narrative. So For Life Foundation will be there for sure. And obviously the holidays will be here before we know it. So we host our big holiday event. So definitely For Life Foundation, be on the lookout for that too.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's an amazing event too. He has a lot of people come out. How many people last year?
I think there was definitely probably there was more than 1,200 kids.
Right.
So we made these little cards, right? So I could kind of track how many kids. So we ended up having over 3,200 kids that came out to the event. I was able to give away over 7,000 toys. We had more than 240 bikes that went out to the kids. We had 17 inflatables out at the park. We had popcorn stations and donut stations and cookie stations.
Is it still
and that's in South Phoenix?
It's over at, no, not East Lake, El Raposo Park over in South Phoenix off 7th Street in Alta Vista.
A lot of those kids can't even get bikes. So that's amazing what you're bringing to them.
Yep, right.
Is that park?
Right,
wow, okay.
Yeah. So we'll be there. It'll look a lot different this year because of COVID, but COVID's not going to stop what I know I need to be doing. So I'll find a way.
That one positive thing that happens to a lot of kids.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, all right, guys.
We're gonna sign out.
Yep. Signing out.